It's always exciting when big names in motorsports come together. Cletus McFarland has helped make Crown Victoria racing more popular. He's known for organizing races and bringing excitement to the motorsports world. Many racers and content creators want to take part in these events. It's not just about winning, it's also about entertainment. The races bring people together, creating a fun and exciting atmosphere. We as fans enjoy watching their favorite drivers compete, and some even get a chance to race themselves. Crown Victoria racing has become an important part of grassroots motorsports. It allows drivers to compete without spending huge amounts of money. Unlike high-end race cars that cost millions, these cars are affordable. That makes it possible for more people to join the sport. And also, the Daytona ARCA Menard Series race turned out to be one of the most thrilling, unpredictable, and unforgettable events in recent racing history. The race had everything: massive crashes, surprise performances, and an energy that kept fans on the edge of their seats. It was pure chaos from start to finish, and while many drivers had their moments, two names stood out above the rest: Cletus McFarland and Butterbean. Daytona International Speedway is legendary in the world of motorsports. It's a track where cars race at nearly 190 miles per hour, packed tightly together, just inches apart. One wrong move can trigger a massive crash, and with many inexperienced drivers in the ARCA field, the risk was even higher. Fans expected a wild race, and they got exactly that. Right from the beginning, the action was intense. Just a few laps into the race, a brutal 15-car crash took out a huge part of the field. Cars spun in every direction, colliding with each other and the walls. Some drivers saw their race end right there, while others managed to keep going despite heavy damage. Only a few lucky ones made it through without a scratch. One of them was Butterbean, behind the wheel of the 28 car for Pinnacle Racing Group. Butterbean's win was nothing short of amazing. He was already well known in short track racing, but winning at Daytona is an entirely different achievement. Experience plays a huge role at this track, yet he remained calm, avoided trouble, and proved he belongs with the best. His ability to stay clean while others crashed out was impressive, and when the final laps arrived, he took full advantage. Only 4 cars remained in contention by the closing laps, and Butterbean had one of the fastest cars left. With 7 laps to go, he took control, held off the competition, and crossed the finish line first. This victory was life-changing. Winning at Daytona, even in ARCA, gets a driver noticed. It showed that he wasn't just a short track specialist. He has what it takes to compete at higher levels. His celebration was electric. His team was cheering, and fans immediately began speculating about his future. Could he get a shot in the NASCAR Xfinity or Cup Series? A win like this makes anything possible. But despite Butterbean's impressive victory, Cletus McFarland was the one who captured the hearts of fans in a way no one expected. Unlike most drivers in the field, McFarland isn't a full-time racer. He isn't on the path to becoming a NASCAR star. Instead, he's known for his massive YouTube following, where he creates wild automotive content that millions of fans love. His entry into the ARCA race was unlike anything seen before. From the moment he hit the track, McFarland brought something different. NASCAR was well aware of his massive social media reach, so they made sure to capitalize on it. They placed a special in-car camera inside his vehicle and live-streamed his race experience on YouTube, and the numbers were shocking. At one point, over 50,000 people were watching his onboard feed. It's an unheard-of number for an ARCA race. It proved just how powerful social media has become in motorsports. But McFarland wasn't there for fun. He actually performed well on the track. He avoided wrecks, made smart moves, and showed that he could handle himself against experienced drivers. One of the most talked about moments was when he barely dodged a massive wreck by inches. His live reaction, caught on camera, was pure gold. He screamed in excitement, celebrating like a fan who had just won the lottery. Unfortunately, his race ended early due to a crash. Amber Balkan lost control and spun directly into him, leaving him nowhere to go. His car was wrecked, and just like that, his race was over. But his impact was far from finished. Right after the crash, Fox interviewed McFarland, and what happened next became an instant classic.
how you wanted it to come to a close. What was your experience like as a whole?
Well, I was having the best day of my life. Ripping around Daytona like a bald eagle. I was flat out, avoided a wreck, which was awesome. I thought I was the best driver to ever exist in that moment. And it's probably because my sleeves were cut off that I was able to pull off that maneuver, come down pit road. Then someone slammed into my rear left quarter, spun me out, lived through that, got some fresh tires, went back out there. I'm hot dogging into 1 and 2, and the car lost it in front of me, and I saw it, didn't have enough brakes to get slowed down before it, and tried to go around it, misread it, zigged instead of zagged when I should have zagged, and I zigged, and bam, blew the front end right off my hot rod.
For years, post-race interviews had become predictable, with drivers giving careful, sponsor-approved answers. McFarland, on the other hand, was completely unfiltered and people loved it. He brought back the kind of personality that NASCAR was once famous for, a throwback to legends like Dale Earnhardt and Tony Stewart, who spoke their minds without hesitation. McFarland's presence proved something much more important. Fans still care about personality. In just one weekend, he did what many full-time NASCAR drivers have struggled to do for years. He made people excited about racing. Thousands of new viewers tuned into the ARCA race because of him. If he were given a shot in the NASCAR Cup Series, the hype would be off the charts. This isn't the first time an outsider has brought fresh energy to NASCAR. Years ago, Travis Pastrana, the legendary motocross and rally driver, made a few NASCAR appearances and fans loved it. Even Tony Stewart and Dale Earnhardt Jr. became fan favorites because of their personalities. Somewhere along the way, NASCAR moved away from that. The sport became more corporate, and drivers became overly polished. They were trained to avoid saying anything controversial. While McFarland was stealing the show off the track, Butterbean was making headlines on it. The Daytona ARCA race is known for its unpredictability, and this year was no different. Right from the start, wrecks were a major factor. A massive 15-car crash early in the race took out a large part of the field. One small mistake in pack racing can lead to disaster, and that's exactly what happened. More wrecks followed, making survival more important than speed. The drivers who managed to stay clean had the best shot at winning. Butterbean was one of them. He avoided the wrecks, kept his car in good condition, and made smart moves. As the laps wound down, only 4 cars were left running without major damage. Butterbean had one of the fastest cars left, and with 7 laps to go, he took control of the race. He held off the competition and crossed the finish line first, securing a massive victory. McFarland's involvement in the race brings up an interesting question. How can NASCAR attract new fans? Instead of letting McFarland fade into the background after his crash, NASCAR made a smart move. They invited him into the broadcast booth to help commentate on the rest of the race. And once again, he delivered. Well, that's all we have for today's episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more content.